They've won another one in this incredible Premier League title race. Liverpool have gone to St James's Park and beat Newcastle United by 3-2. They keep finding madder ways to win footy matches somehow. There's no agenda because I was on the way back from the game in the car and just decided I would drink instead. So fuck the pieces of paper, there's nothing there. There's also no tactics in it because Neil Atkinson was far too emotionally ringed out after the match last night, so he hasn't been able to do that. So fuck the counters as well, they're gone. There's no agenda, there's none of that. I'm with Ian Ryan, I'm with Paul Johnson, who's also inexplicably known as Jacko, so fuck naming conventions as well. Jacko, everything is mad, nothing makes sense anymore. Liverpool are brilliant, what a night.
It's unbelievable, it really is. So much has been written, so much has been said about this team. You just said off show there, it all feels like it's happening for some reason. And we sit here now and we hope that it is happening for the reason that those Reds on Sunday are playing for that league title. Either way we are, but we just hope obviously what happens on Monday might change that. But when you look at the Reds again last night, the chips were down, not those ones, the actual, the red chips were down, and, Salah goes off injured, and then Big Div steps up again, and obviously the lads who were there, looked like you had an absolute ball, wherever you watched it, it was unreal, it was fantastic.
It was fantastic in the ground, Ian, but it will have been fantastic across the globe for the millions of people who yearn for a league title for Liverpool more than anything. They're just not going away ever. They're going to push Manchester City till the last second of this season. The character of that football team, that group of human beings, is incredible.
What a side. I mean, last night, I didn't think it was done. It felt like it was done. The lads in the studio were saying the same thing. You see Salah go off, you think, it can't end like this, surely. Surely it doesn't end like this. And you're thinking about what happened in Kiev and stuff, and it all felt like it was a little step too far, but yet, there's a group of lads there that do not give up. They do not give up, and absolute credit to all of them. It wasn't our greatest game. I think, on the back of the game against Barcelona, you see some of the effects there. We looked a bit leggy, we looked a bit tired. The manager makes a few team selections around, centre half, brings Lovren back in, it didn't really work. Starts Sturridge, worked to a point, I'd say. He has a good half an hour, good 40 minutes. Little bit of a passenger, I thought, second half, should make it 3-1. We lose Mo, so everything's against us, or it feels like it's against us, but we find a way, Dan. And it's been a story of finding a way over recent games. And we were saying before, sometimes the stars do align, sometimes it does feel like it's written. And for all this to happen, for the goal against Everton, the way we beat Chelsea, the goal against Spurs, you just feel like something big is about to happen. And the fact that we're taking it to the last day, that's all I wanted from these boys. Take it to the last day, make City go and post 98. And if we get 97 and it's not enough, then fair dues. We can't really ask much more, but take it to that very last day and make them win those last two games.
Jacko, it's the Vacharihi again, and I still can't process that he's doing this. He shouldn't be getting a game, he shouldn't play for Liverpool. All the rules of how a footy player's career goes mean that he's not playing and scoring goals for Liverpool now. But once again, he's the man.
Brilliant. I mean, do you know what? And when you look at it back, and you'd have the time to, which probably you haven't done, but when you look at it back, his movement's really good. He's kind of, because you're all thinking, come on, Virg, aren't you? You get the free kick, come on, Virg.
I mean, he's doing it himself. He's telling Shaqiri, you put that right on my head there,
which is amazing, by the way. But Origi's movement's very clever. He kind of goes out and he goes back in. And you know what? When we were just talking again off show, we think it's been given to him, and it should be given to him because he gets the first touch, and okay, gets a touch off ourselves, and all the internet goes bonkers that we're the luckiest team ever to play football, which is absolute rubbish. And you know what? He runs away, and you're thinking, I can't believe we're at this point, because, like you say, you'd have thought, and probably if he's probably one who could get offloaded, and he's had a couple of massive saves in this season. And I liked his comments after it, Dan, as well. He was talking about the fight, and he said about giving up and that. And for all that you said, I was thinking there at 2-2 with 20 to go, this is it. Because what I thought we did well, we didn't panic. We kept the ball. We kept trying to play, but we didn't create anything. No. And then Big Div steps up. And you know what? It's like you said, you needed one chance. And I think one of the commentators said, they'll get one chance and Liverpool need to take it. And Big Div did it again.
What was telling for me, and was they win the game in a different way. So it's a late winner again. Liverpool keep doing them because they never give up. But it's different to, for example, the Tottenham goal, the pen of Fulham, the late one against Everton, where it just feels like they force it and the opposition just buckles because they can't handle it anymore. It wasn't quite like that. Benitez in his post-match comments was really interesting because he said, I think we could have defended an awful lot better for the first two. Played really well, but we could have defended them better. And then he went, third one, I'm not so sure. He basically admits Liverpool have scored a fucking great goal there. They've done really well. Technically, like if you forget the context of it, if you forget that this is a title race, it's the 86th minute, everything's fallen down, it feels like it's all against us. It's a wonderful delivery.
Yeah.
As Jacko says, the movement is excellent. To get the flick on is really, really good. Right in the corner. Liverpool believed in themselves, not just to somehow make the result happen, but to be good enough to make the chance happen in the first place.
Yeah, and I think, Neville and Carragher were talking about the goal after the game last night, and Carragher was saying, well, Trent had all these assists, so you'd have thought he'd have taken it, but Neville was like, well, last 5 minutes of the game, you don't want a ball coming in like that, and then swinger, and Shaqiri's got the ability to put a ball like that on someone's head, and as soon as Divock gets the flick, there's very little anyone can do then. The movement's there, you mentioned it there, Jacko, the movement's great from Divock. They've probably got one eye on Virgil because of what he's done first half, and he's the threat, 6'5", but my God, what a goal. And I think you're right, there's something about, you can play great football, but there's also something about just staying in games as well, and just not willing to die, and you go to the very end, and I think that's what will please the manager with the most when he wakes up this morning and goes, I've got one hell of a fucking football team here. Yes, they're great, they can take teams to the cleaners, they can pick teams apart, but actually as well, there's loads of like character and belief in these boys as well. They've been on one hell of a journey now, and they're not prepared to let it slip, and whereas as fans sometimes you think it's over, and you kind of get a bit down the dumps, and I was last night, last 20, I was a mess. I was a fucking mess. I thought it was done. You start getting fucking moody about it, but those lads don't give up. And you talk about people like Divock Origi, he can look himself in the mirror and go, if Liverpool do win this league, he's played one hell of a part. He's not featured loads, he's not started loads of games, but the goal against Everton and the goal last night,
He wins the corner against
yeah,
Tottenham
absolutely.
as well.
He can look himself in there. Even people like Sturridge, he chips in with a goal against Chelsea in the season a long time ago now. And I've been someone who probably thinks, Sturridge's best days are well behind him. I think loads of people think that as well, to be fair. And I probably wouldn't have started him last night, but he starts and he does okay. And he's involved in the goal. The back heel, Trent, so fair play. Yeah. So there's loads of lads there who maybe aren't starting games, who will be able to look themselves in the mirror and go, you know what, I've contributed.
Yeah, definitely.
Jacko, we've got to talk about Newcastle because, if anyone thought that Rafa Benitez was going to be soft on us, they were proven wrong within the first few minutes. The bastards set them up really well. They were very, very good. Yeah. It's Saturday night, their crowd is, seeing the last home game. Yep. Possibly under Rafa Benitez as well. They really want to make an impact on him to make him want to stay. They were bang up for it. That was a really difficult match. Manchester City have gone there and they've lost. Yep. That was a huge test for Liverpool last night. Rondon was really good. They defended relatively well for the majority of the match, I thought. Their midfield was good. Ki Sung-young is a really good passer of the ball. Yeah. The goalkeeper is really good as well. Liverpool did really, really well to come through that because there was a point in the first half as well where they could have gone 2-1 behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Better managed the game really well and did it.
I think as well, when you spoke to most Liverpool fans, they knew that was always going to be a really tough game. And there was a lot said in the press and obviously on the internet about Rafa will roll over, what all the crap that was. There's no way a professional like Benitez, and also those 15 squad players for Newcastle, they don't care about us winning the league. They want to perform, as you said, because of the circumstances. The last game, trying to impress. Obviously, all of the crowd were up for it. I thought as well, though, not only did they play well, you mentioned Rondon, you mentioned other players there, but they were nasty. There was some really bad tackles, which I thought, the referee missed again. There was a couple of ones down the back of the cellar. But fair play to them in a way. We knew we weren't going to go and get there and get this team. We were going to sit back. Okay, you don't want to see your players getting kicked. And obviously I was fuming when it was happening. But you were thinking, well, that's what they want to play like. And all we can hope, and we mentioned it off show, that it doesn't seem that any team have kind of gone against City in the last maybe 5 or 6 like that. And you just want that to them because I think Newcastle, obviously City and the whole country by the sound of it wanted Newcastle to obviously make a slip up last night, get a draw or whatever. And I don't think any of them can go, well, Newcastle didn't have a go. They really did, and that's a massive compliment to them and both Benitez for the way he set them up.
Having said all that, Ian, early on it did feel like it might be a little bit uncomfortable because Liverpool get the early goal. It's a relatively simple goal. It's a really good ball into the box and a nice header, don't get me wrong, but somehow Virgil van Dijk ends up on his own. And from there you just sort of think, we'll be all right. That's what I felt anyway in the game. I was like, we've got the early one, we're a better team, we're going to be all right at that stage.
I don't think people thought that Newcastle were going to be as bold as they were, and I think your point's right. You know what, we've been looking for teams to maybe have a little bit of a go at City in recent weeks. It's not happened. Well, Newcastle absolutely had a go at us. They gave it everything. They get the equaliser. You know, it would have been an interesting game if they hadn't scored that goal and suddenly you're down to 10 men and they've got a penalty and fucking hell, God knows what happens then. But you know, fortune favours the brave sometimes, and we obviously, you know, we're able to crack on with 11. We get the second, and then you're thinking, all right, we've composed ourselves, now we've got the second, we get the third, we'll kill them. But they go again. They come at us again, Newcastle. And fair play. I mean, you know, Rondon, you know, people were unsure about him. Rafa wasn't. He wanted to sign him on a permanent deal. And I think he's proven to be a good addition to that squad. He causes problems. You know, Van Dijk, even last night, looked unsettled at times. You know, Lovren had a game to forget, to be honest. I thought he got bullied. He was trying to win things when it wasn't really there. I wouldn't have played him, to be honest with you. We had a chat, Neil and I, on the Friday show, and I just felt it's so close to the end of the season now. This game had to take priority over the Barcelona one. And I'd just gone with Matip again, to be honest. But I understand why he made the change. But no, Newcastle did themselves justice there. No, again, if Leicester give anywhere near that application and effort on Monday night, then they should give City one hell of a game.
Yeah.
Their first goal, Paul, comes from, you know, we were starting to do the mad back passes there. Lovren had a ropey few minutes around the time of the goal. It didn't feel like it came with play necessarily, but after that you saw it was a part of their game plan. It was let's be physical, let's try and unsettle them, because although, you know, we're a much better team defensively than what we've been probably in my lifetime, really.
Of course,
it's very rare that we're tested physically. You don't really get a centre forward like Rondon anymore. There's maybe, in terms of the power of the man, you know, Lukaku is a better footballer. I suppose he's the only sort of similar one, and he's not even necessarily first choice at Man United, so you don't come up against them that often. It was a very unique proposition that they put forward, and when that goal went in, that kind of took me back a little bit, because I didn't think necessarily, oh well, that's just them getting one back with a bit of a fluke, you know, it's been off the line and whatever else. I thought that's their game plan, that. And if we're going to be this shaky, if Lovren's going to have a game like that, we could be in trouble further on down the line.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you look back at the goal itself, there's a couple of things that, like we always say, every goal that gets conceded, probably in a way you can pretty much say, like, how do you pick the bones out of it, how do you improve it. I think maybe we should squeeze the cross a bit quicker. I think obviously Robertson goes with the runner, and maybe Fabinho's a bit slow getting out, so the lad whips it in. And then what they've done really well, Richie's gone up, and I think Sturridge might have switched off, so obviously he ends up obviously having the free shot. You make a cracking point. Obviously, if it doesn't go in, you know, you potentially could be saying about, you know, that could be the league over. And you mentioned it before about the stars aligning, and that could that be one of those mad ones where when he blocks it at first, I think brilliant block, then he scores and guts up, and then when you watch the replay, you think, oh, thank God he scored, because otherwise
it's not even close to a block. No. His elbow's like out there,
exactly. I mean, did you see that at the game? Because obviously, on my screen, I was watching. I thought, well done, Trent, and then obviously,
honestly, everyone knows that the away end at Newcastle is in a different postcode to where the footy is, but I could see that elbow clear as day.
The meltdown on Twitter. I mean, Twitter wanted him sent off, and the goal given, and a penalty. That sounds unfair, definitely. So
but I think as you say, you know, you've obviously got Burnley, you've got big strong strikers, and but they're not as mobile as Rondon, and that's why he is.
No, they're not technically as good. Exactly. None of them score that goal that he scores.
And his second goal, we mentioned it before. You know, that when you look at it again, it's a good header clearance. I think it's by Wijnaldum, and their lad, I think it might have been Perez. He just heads it back into the box. It's not aimed for Rondon. He literally just thinks, I'm going to head this back in and see. And again, we're pushing out, and it falls perfect for him. But it's a cracking strike with, I think, what's his weaker foot as well. I think he is predominantly right-footed, and he hits it really well. He controls it, and you literally, again, you're watching it, you're thinking, we couldn't have done nothing there. I felt like they had a little bit of pressure. I think if Sturridge of old scores and makes it 3-1, it's probably game over, and they don't maybe, you know, get that response. But you've got to give Newcastle credit, and I think Rondon probably deserved that goal for his performance, although obviously we didn't want to see him score.
Before we get into the second half properly, Ian, we've got to talk about Liverpool's second. It's a wonderful goal. I think it's totally underrated because of the context of the game and what's going on. I haven't really heard many people talking about it, but it's a really good move, first of all. We've mentioned the back heel from Sturridge already, but the finish, is magnificent. To catch it
Yeah.
on his wrong foot, put it in the corner as precisely as he does. The goalkeeper doesn't even get that much near it in the end. It reminded me sort of like when I've seen old school clips of Fowler on his wrong foot, and he just somehow finds the corner from an improbable angle. I thought it was fantastic from Salah.
That's a great shout, actually. I think, first of all, the cross is really good because, you know, a lot of lads there would probably take a touch, but he doesn't. His first thought is ping it in straight away. It's a great ball in, and Mo controls it. It's beautiful, really, because he's kind of going backwards as well. So he's got to kind of control it with his weaker foot whilst taking 2 or 3 steps backwards. He doesn't need loads of power. It's all about the accuracy, and the goalie can't get anywhere near it. It's a great finish. And I thought, you know, from there, Mane gets that other chance, doesn't he, where Salah puts him in, and that kills the game for me. Then if that one goes in. So, you know, the last couple of matches, you could say there's been times where maybe we haven't quite been as ruthless as maybe you'd associate with some of these players. But no doubt about it, as I say, the finish from Salah's glorious, really. And you just hope, from Salah's point of view, that he's all right. And, you know, there's probably no chance of the Barcelona game, but fingers crossed he's able to feature at Wolves.
I think also, I was a bit annoyed with the commentary last night because I think it was Tyler, probably, and he ends up, obviously Van Dijk was unmarked from the first. He's only unmarked because the lad slips. So Lascelles, he slips, he's literally, it's a great run by, someone takes a run, and he slips, and Van Dijk's got a free header. The second one, he's almost saying the same. He said it's another you know, free, a man unmarked. And I thought, hang on a minute, lad, if you watch it back here, like you said, it's a great ball in, but Salah's anticipation that's going to happen, because he's right over the right-hand side of the box. As it's developing, and again he's thinking, well, I'm going to get into this position, I'm going to put myself in it, and he does have a little burst of speed to get him away from the defence, and okay, yeah, he does end up being free, but that's because it was an intelligent run, and he's knowing that if this comes back, Trent's going to put this in. So when you put it all together, you said it's a cracking move, it is, and I think obviously defensively they'll look at it and say, well, he could do this and that, but I think, you know, sometimes you got to go really intelligent movement, great ball, and a cracking finish.
So the Reds go in up at half-time, come back out and play really well for about 10 minutes, extremely well. It's probably the best period of the game, I think, from a Liverpool point of view. One superb chance, it's another brilliant move. It all comes, actually, from Andy Robertson, chasing all our scores down their right-hand side, winning the ball back by the corner flag. We get the ball back, we start again, ends up in the area after a few lovely passes, and Daniel Sturridge should kill the game. He doesn't quite manage to do it, and when Newcastle then go and score again, we've already scored about the runs on goal, that chance felt like the one where, is that the one that had to go in, and have we now lost this?
Yeah, I mean, great point again about Andy Robb. I mean, what the fullbacks are giving us this season is nothing short of sensational. They're such an attacking weapon for us. But Sturridge is in the team for that very reason, for those type of chances. That's why he's playing. You know, he's looked at the game, probably the manager, and thought, well, there's not going to be loads of room in behind, so one player Riga, I'll go with Sturridge. He's probably the more clinical fella. So when that falls to him, he's got to take that. I mean, people will, you know, talk about Daniel Sturridge in different ways now, I suppose. People will still sometimes think about the old Daniel Sturridge, and there's no doubt, you know, peak Sturridge finishes that. But it's a really poor finish. And I don't know whether there's just too much emotion in it now for Sturridge. He's thinking about the end of his career, you know, he's snatching at things because he knows that he's probably not going to get many more chances, but if that goes in, it absolutely kills the game.
Definitely.
You can see Liverpool then going on, maybe scoring a fourth or even a fifth, but that gives Newcastle hope, it gives them a sniff. But yeah, looking back at that, it's one he knows he probably should have done better.
I think they said it last night. I think he's 7 in 10 against Newcastle.
Got a great record against
them. And again, you know, not that obviously Klopp picks him for that. He picks him for a reason. But you'd think, you know, as it comes across, you just, the old Sturridge finish it, just hit the target, Dan. If you hit the target, you make the keeper make a great save. That's sample to blaze as he did.
Well, speaking about Mo's finish before, where it's all about accuracy. Sturridge goes all about power, doesn't he? And he just gets it all wrong. Yeah. But I mean, I spoke about him before, but you know, he does do all right for the first 30-40 minutes.
There's some nice ball he puts there's some nice bits in there in the first half.
And he wants it off his feet now, doesn't he? Because he knows he hasn't got the legs to go in behind. But there's just times where I feel like he's a little bit of a passenger, and it feels a bit painful, a bit awkward watching him now. Which is a shame, but
it is. He's not having enough impact on the game for a player playing in that role. You could see again Klopp last night a couple of times. It went to him and he was on the side, and Sturridge was getting a drink, and Klopp was saying to him, "You could see him keep it, get it, and play." And it was happening sometimes, but there was loads of time when it didn't. And you do feel, because you've mentioned before about everyone contributing, and he scores the cracker at Chelsea. He does the back heel last night, and he did that. But what a chance that was to put a 3-1 up and kill the game. As it turned out, we got there in the end. But it's sad in a way, isn't it?
It is a little.
But you never know. He could still have a key say in the last few games we've got. You just don't know.
Jack, I want to concentrate on Andy Robertson for a second because I saw a statistic in the aftermath of the game that struck me a lot. He had more touches in the opposition half than any footballer on the pitch. He's a left fullback, and I know we don't play fullbacks like fullbacks. They're effectively midfielders. They're the ones that we ask to do all the distribution. They're the ones that we ask to be the best passers of the football. But just the sheer intensity of the man, like I mentioned the one that he won back in the corner there, but he never gives anyone on his side of the pitch a rest, ever. I can't imagine how much of a nightmare it must be to play against him, because you're trying to have just 15 seconds for a breather, and he's never giving you it.
But the other thing which is this staggering, Dan, is that the fact that you probably look at every single position on our pitch where lads have had a rest, and he's one who hasn't. He's one who hasn't. And at this stage, to be playing at that intensity, it's absolutely incredible. And when you look back at the the money we pay for him, it's got to be one of the best signings in our history. And I know obviously it's we don't want to go too, but he is that good. And last night, for him to put Lascelles under pressure and win the ball back for the Sturridge chance, that's how he plays. He's on the front foot all the time. Like you said, no one wants to have the ball that side because they know he's either going to be tight to them, and then even if they get in a foot race with him, he's got the speed to recover. He's incredible, and when there's so many sort of nominees for like our own player of the season, and obviously you're getting that Van Dijk's probably a shoe-in for it, but there's so many who gives him, and he's got to be one who's up there as well, Dan, because you mentioned the word intensity. How he's playing at that intensity at this stage for literally pretty much not having a break is unbelievable.
But tactically he's so switched on as well. I mean, he picks his moments. I mean, that's probably something I didn't really associate with him when we signed him, and obviously the club have worked a lot with him on the tactical side of things because he doesn't get in the first team straight away. But now he's so switched on. It's very rare he gets caught out as well. So he's picking his moments to go really, really well. And I thought he was great against Barcelona, probably one of our standouts, to be honest. And he's great again. And you've got, when you've got other managers, remember Mourinho when we beat United at our place, and he was waxing lyrical about him. You don't often get that. Other managers talking about how good your fullbacks are.
And he's still doing it now, which is unbelievable, isn't it? And he's really lucky not to get an assist last night as well. Again, in that spell in the second half, the first 10 minutes, he puts a ball in, and it's literally it's about an inch over Mane, and but for a cracking defensive header, I think, again by Lascelles, Sturridge is turning in,
post,
and he's just got the only thing, it would be great if he could add to his game some goals, some more goals. There was one in the first half where it looked like it was a cross-come shot, where you just think, Robbo, just have a go there, you know what I mean? But listen, that's not a criticism, he's unbelievable.
Right, we've already discussed the Rondon goal, we've already done the Origi goal as well. I want to talk now about basically the end of the game, because it's mad how, I think no one in away really realised, I certainly didn't, we all celebrated the goal like it was the last kick of the game. There were 12 minutes left, 12 minutes, we all knew Salah had been down for ages. I actually think 8 was probably quite kind in reality.
One of their lads had gone down just after it as well, I think. Sturridge had caught him, so he'd gone down. So when it was...
There's goals, there's substitutions.
Yeah, Dan, and when you're thinking, as before 86, before we score, I'm thinking, at least we've got a good period in injury time to score.
We were in the away end going, it's got to be at least 15. He's got to have 15 on here. And then as soon as we score, only four, please, mate. But, we play that out. In the end, it's actually quite comfortable. They have one free kick, but they don't do anything with it. When he blows the whistle, how do you describe how you felt? Is it just a wash of relief? Is it euphoria? What he's saying it was, Ian, that you felt? You know what?
It should have been euphoria, but it wasn't. I was just absolutely so relieved because that last 8 minutes, I mean, imagine it had been 15. Fucking hell, lad, honestly. I couldn't have done 15. Yeah. But you felt like you'd aged about 10 years in those 8 minutes. Yeah. And nothing really happens in it. And that's credit to Liverpool, by the way. They managed the game really, really well. They kill it. Which, again, maturity, all that kind of comes into play. But it was just that relief that we take it to the last game.
I think I've got to mention, without going into circumstances, but I watched the last 20 minutes on an iPad in darkness and in silence because I was on the bed next to me 1-year-old who was having a bit of a mare. My missus was out, so I had no moves. And I watched the last 20 in silence, in darkness, because obviously I had it on mute. So you can imagine me, well, you probably can, when we score, I've got this madman silent celebration going. I don't want to wake me 1 year old up. And it's similar when the final whistle went. I'm in our bedroom running around, kind of doing this, a bit like John Barnes on the clip.
Barnes,
And as you say, I think I had black hair to start this season, and literally, but I'd take every one of them because obviously it's been amazing, and when that final goes straight on Klopp and that, and there, I just wish I had someone to hug because I just wanted to get that, and it was just.
Imagine being City watching that.
You mentioned this before, and I think this is where, and my big hope for Monday night is that City have done brilliant. At the end of the day, we've got to say they've asked any questions that's been asked to them, they've responded well. However, when we're 2-2 with 10 to go and they're thinking this is it, they're rubbing their hands, and we come back again, the big one for me is how they respond to a bit of adversity within the game. So Leicester scoring first. Not one of these games, okay, you can say City have done well for keeping clean sheets, but in all these games where we want City to drop points, never has someone scored against them, never someone scored against them first. I'd love that to happen, just to see the response, because at the end of the day, they've got us in the back of the mind like this bad smell that won't go away. And all of a sudden, if they were to go behind against Leicester, and then Leicester's, they're set up for keeping it tight and hitting on the break.
Yeah, they are.
That would be, could he respond? Because you know what, I don't think he could. And I'm going to lay that down right now on the table. I don't think he could.
Jacko doesn't think he could. That is all that we've got time for on this edition of The Second Look. Liverpool have got to be perfect one more time. Manchester City have got to be perfect 2 more times. That's the difference. That is why the pressure is back on them. Liverpool are doing all that they can do to win this title. Thanks very much to Jacko and to Ian for joining me. Thank you to you for watching this. We've come in on a Sunday because we like to look after you, and we're just as excited about the Reds. I can't stop talking about them as well. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe to the Anfield app. All the podcasts and stuff will be exclusive next week. You'll be able to read analysis of all the games, previews, as well as everyone just gets dead excited, because this is, without doubt, the biggest week in Liverpool's modern history. It could be all of our dreams coming true. There's a European Cup semi-final to come first. We'll see how that goes. It's improbable, but we've all got hope. It might still happen. There's a league title that's not in our favour, but it could still happen. It might be the best week of your entire life. Let's hope that it is. All the best. Up the Reds!